Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us that the strong person is not the one who overpowers others physically, but the one who controls himself when angry. Think about that carefully. The world teaches you to react instantly. Islam teaches you to control yourself first. And honestly, most people today are emotionally weak. One comment destroys them. One criticism breaks them. One disagreement turns into hatred. Why? Because they never learned emotional discipline. Listen carefully. If somebody can control your anger with a few words, then they are controlling you. That means they own your emotional buttons. And toxic people study those buttons carefully. They learn what hurts you. They learn what triggers you. They learn what makes you explode. Then they use it against you. That is why emotional control is power. Imagine somebody trying desperately to provoke you. They insult you, mock you, spread negativity, try to embarrass you, but you stay calm. You refuse to give them the emotional reaction they expected. Wallahi, that confuses toxic people, because toxic people are prepared for chaos. They are prepared for shouting. They are prepared for emotional drama, but they do not know what to do with calmness. Your peace becomes intimidating. And this does not mean you become emotionless. No, it means you become disciplined. There is a difference. A disciplined person still feels anger, still feels hurt, still feels disappointment, but they do not let emotions control their actions. That is maturity. Because one emotional moment can destroy years of respect. One angry message, one impulsive reaction, one public outburst, and suddenly you damage your own dignity trying to defend your ego. Many people regret their reactions more than the original insult itself. And this is why wise people pause before responding. Sometimes you need to stay silent long enough for your mind to calm down, because angry words create permanent damage. You know what is dangerous? Toxic people often want you to react badly so they can make you look like the problem. They provoke you quietly. Then when you explode emotionally, suddenly everyone notices your reaction instead of their manipulation. This is why emotional discipline protects you, not only spiritually, but socially as well. And let me tell you something powerful. Your peace is expensive. Stop handing it over cheaply to every negative person you meet. Some people are not worth the stress. Some arguments are not worth your energy. Some battles only distract you from your purpose. You cannot grow if your emotions are controlled by every opinion around you. And this is why calm people move differently. They do not rush to prove themselves. They do not react to every insult. They do not chase every argument. They protect their inner peace like treasure. Because once your mind becomes peaceful, toxic people lose their power over you. And perhaps one of the most dangerous levels of self-control is this: when you finally reach a point where people can no longer manipulate your emotions. They insult you, but you remain steady. They gossip about you, but you continue growing. They hate you, but you continue smiling. They try to provoke you, but you refuse to collapse emotionally. That is strength. Not muscles, not aggression, not loudness, control. And the truth is, some people become angry simply because they failed to make you angry. Your calmness becomes a mirror that exposes their weakness. Because deep inside, toxic people are disturbed by emotionally stable people. Why? Because stable people cannot be controlled easily. So protect your peace, protect your emotions, protect your mind. Do not allow temporary people to create permanent damage inside your heart. Sometimes the greatest victory is simply remaining calm while others lose control around you. 2. Win through success, not revenge. One of the biggest mistakes people make after being hurt is this: they become obsessed with revenge. They stop focusing on their future and start focusing on the person who wronged them. And without realizing it, their enemy begins controlling their life emotionally. Listen carefully. Revenge feels powerful in the beginning, but most of the time it slowly poisons the person seeking it. Because revenge keeps your mind chained to the past. You keep replaying conversations, replaying betrayal, replaying disrespect, replaying what they said and what you should have said back. Meanwhile, your own life stops moving forward. And this is exactly how many people waste years of their lives. Not because their enemies were stronger, but because bitterness consumed their focus. You know what truly destroys toxic people? Watching you succeed without them. Watching you heal when they expected you to stay broken. Watching you smile when they expected emotional collapse. Watching you improve while they are still stuck in negativity. That hurts them deeply, because toxic people often believe your life should become miserable after they hurt you. They want evidence that they still affect you emotionally. But when you continue growing, when you continue building your future, when you continue becoming stronger spiritually, mentally, financially, their control over you disappears. And that is real victory. Many people think revenge means hurting someone back. No. The highest level of revenge is becoming so focused on your purpose that you no longer have time to hate people. Think about successful people for a moment. Do you think disciplined people spend all day planning revenge? No. They are too busy building themselves, too busy improving, too busy learning, too busy growing closer to Allah, too busy creating a better future. Meanwhile, toxic people remain trapped in jealousy, gossip, and negativity. And there is something important you must understand about jealous people. Jealous people are disturbed by your progress. Even your happiness irritates them. Your peace irritates them. Your confidence irritates them. Your discipline irritates them, because your growth reminds them of everything they failed to become. That is why some people secretly become angry when your life improves. Not because you harmed them, but because your success exposes their insecurity. And this is why your focus matters so much. Where attention goes, energy flows. If all your energy goes toward revenge, hatred, and emotional drama, your own growth will suffer. But if your energy goes toward discipline, healing, learning, and worship, your entire life changes. Some people spend years trying to destroy others, while successful people spend years building themselves. Guess who wins in the end? The builder always defeats the destroyer, because destruction creates temporary satisfaction, but growth creates permanent transformation. And honestly, many people want revenge because their ego is wounded. Their pride cannot accept disrespect. So they think, I need to prove myself. I need to hurt them back. I need them to suffer. But ask yourself honestly, will revenge actually heal your heart? Most of the time, no. It only keeps the wound alive longer. The believer understands something deeper. Allah did not create you to spend your life trapped in hatred. Your life has purpose beyond emotional battles with toxic people. Some people are distractions sent to pull you away from your destiny. And many people fail because they become emotionally attached to the distraction. Do not make that mistake. Your future matters more than proving a point to temporary people. And let me tell you something dangerous about success. Success speaks loudly without saying anything. When someone expected you to fail, but you become stronger instead, that creates impact. When someone expected you to become better, but you become wiser instead, that creates impact. When someone tried to break your confidence, but you become more disciplined and more focused, that creates impact. People expect revenge. They expect emotional chaos. They expect hate. What shocks them is growth. And this is why self-improvement is one of the most powerful responses to negativity. Go to the gym, improve your health, improve your relationship with Allah, improve your finances, improve your discipline, improve your mindset. Let pain refine you instead of destroying you. Because some people use pain as an excuse to collapse, while others use pain as fuel to transform. And the difference between those two people changes their entire future. You know what is truly sad? Some people become so obsessed with destroying others that they destroy themselves in the process. They lose sleep, lose peace, lose focus, lose direction. Their entire personality becomes anger. Do not become that person. Your enemy should never become the center of your life. That is emotional slavery. And one of the most powerful moments in life is when you finally stop caring about proving yourself to people who never deserved your energy in the first place. You stop chasing validation. You stop chasing revenge. You stop explaining yourself constantly. And instead, you quietly build your life. That quiet growth becomes your loudest victory. Because at the end of the day, toxic people hate one thing more than anything else: seeing you win without becoming like them. 3, never lower your character. One of the biggest traps toxic people set for you is this: they want to pull you down to their level. They insult you, so you insult back. They gossip, so you gossip back. They disrespect you, so you abandon your own dignity. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin becoming the very thing you once hated. That is how toxic people win. Not when they hurt you, but when they change who you are. Listen carefully. Your character is one of the most valuable things you own. Once people lose trust in your character, rebuilding that respect becomes extremely difficult. And sadly, many people destroy years of respect in just a few emotional moments. One angry outburst, one ugly argument, one hateful message. And suddenly people no longer remember your patience. They remember your reaction. This is why emotional discipline matters so much. Because toxic people often try to make you react publicly so they can make you look bad. They provoke you quietly. Then when you explode, everyone notices your explosion instead of their manipulation. And honestly, many intelligent people still fall into this trap. Why? Because ego is powerful. Your ego wants to defend itself immediately. Your ego wants the last word. Your ego wants revenge. Your ego wants to prove superiority. But wisdom asks a different question. Is this response worth damaging my peace, dignity, and character? Not every fight deserves your participation. One of the signs of maturity is realizing that winning arguments does not always mean winning in life. Some people win debates but lose respect, win attention but lose peace, win temporary satisfaction but damage their reputation permanently. And this is why wise people think long term. The believer understands something powerful. Your behavior is a reflection of your values, not other people's behavior. In other words, you do not become good because others are good to you. You remain good because goodness is part of your principles. That is true strength. Anyone can act nicely when life is easy. Anyone can smile when everything goes their way. But your real character appears when you are angry, when you are betrayed, when you are disrespected, when you are tested emotionally. That is when your reality appears. Can you still control your tongue? Can you still walk away peacefully? Can you still speak with dignity? Or does one insult completely transform your personality? Because some people look calm until their ego is touched. Then suddenly all their manners disappear. And honestly, this world already has enough angry people, enough rude people, enough arrogant people, enough people spreading negativity everywhere they go. Do not become another one. Toxic people often want you to abandon your principles because it makes them feel less guilty about their own behavior. Think about it carefully. If they can drag you into ugliness, then now both of you look the same. And this is why maintaining character is powerful. It confuses toxic people because they They expect you to become bitter. They expect you to become hateful. They expect you to lose control. But instead, you remain disciplined. That discipline becomes intimidating. And let me tell you something important. Classy people move differently. They do not expose every emotion publicly. They do not react to every insult online. They do not spend all day proving themselves to people. Why? Because secure people do not need constant validation. Insecure people scream for attention. Secure people remain focused. And one of the most dangerous things you can do in life is allow temporary emotions to create permanent consequences. Many people are sitting in regret today because they reacted emotionally in one heated moment. A destroyed friendship, a damaged marriage, a ruined reputation, a broken family relationship, all because they failed to control themselves temporarily. That is why patience is not weakness. Patience is intelligence. Sometimes walking away from an argument takes more strength than staying in it. And understand this clearly. Keeping good character does not mean allowing abuse. It does not mean becoming weak. It does not mean letting people walk over you. No, you can set boundaries while remaining respectful. You can defend yourself while remaining disciplined. You can distance yourself without becoming cruel. That balance is maturity. Unfortunately, many people think strength means aggression, but aggression without control is weakness. Anyone can become loud. Anyone can become disrespectful. Anyone can lose control emotionally. But calmness under pressure, that is rare. And perhaps one of the greatest signs of wisdom is this: you stop asking, how can I hurt them back? And instead you ask, how do I protect my peace, my dignity, and my relationship with Allah? Because at the end of the day, toxic people come and go, but your character stays with you for life. And wallahi, people may forget what you said, they may forget what happened, but they rarely forget how your character made them feel. So protect your dignity carefully. Do not let angry people turn you into an angry person. Do not let bitter people turn you bitter. Do not let toxic people poison your heart, because the moment you become like them, you already lost the battle. 4. Distance is a weapon. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves your time. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. And yet many people continue suffering because they refuse to accept this reality. They keep reopening doors that should have stayed closed. They keep allowing toxic people back into their lives, hoping maybe this time they changed. Maybe this time things will be different. But sometimes the signs were already clear from the beginning. The disrespect, the manipulation, the constant negativity, the emotional exhaustion. And still people ignore the warning signs because they fear being alone more than they fear losing their peace. Listen carefully. One of the biggest forms of self-destruction is staying connected to people who continuously damage your mental, emotional, or spiritual peace. Some people are not just difficult, they are dangerous to your growth. Every time you speak to them, your energy drops, your motivation drops, your peace disappears. And slowly, without noticing, you begin carrying emotional heaviness everywhere you go. That is why distance is sometimes necessary. Not because you hate people, not because you are arrogant, not because you think you are better than others, but because protecting your peace is part of protecting your life. And honestly, many people misunderstand kindness. They think kindness means tolerating unlimited disrespect. They think being a good person means allowing people to repeatedly hurt them. They think patience means accepting emotional abuse forever. No, that is not wisdom. Even in Islam, there is balance. You can forgive someone and still create distance. You can wish someone well and still remove them from your daily life. You can make dua for someone while understanding they are unhealthy for your future. Those are two different things. Forgiveness does not always mean reconnection. And this is where many people become emotionally trapped, because they confuse guilt with responsibility. They think, if I walk away, I am a bad person. If I distance myself, I am being cruel. But ask yourself honestly, how long will you continue sacrificing your peace just to keep toxic people comfortable? Some people only know how to take from you. Take your energy, take your attention, take your kindness, take your emotional stability. And after spending time with them, you feel drained instead of uplifted. That is not healthy. The people around you influence your mindset more than you realize. If you surround yourself with negativity long enough, eventually it affects your thinking, your emotions, your habits, your relationship with Allah. This is why your environment matters. Strong people understand that who you allow close to you shapes your future. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is quietly step back. No dramatic speech, no emotional announcement, no social media posts, no revenge, just distance, quietly. Because mature people understand that not every separation needs noise. You do not need to explain every decision to everyone. And honestly, toxic people often become angry when they lose access to you. Why? Because access is power. The moment somebody can constantly reach your emotions, your attention, your time, they have influence over your life. But when you emotionally detach and create healthy boundaries, suddenly they lose control. And many toxic people hate boundaries. They become upset when they can no longer manipulate you easily. Upset when you stop responding emotionally. Upset when you stop chasing them. Upset when you stop tolerating disrespect. Why? Because boundaries expose entitlement. You know what scares manipulative people? A person who finally learns self-respect. Because once you develop self-respect, you stop accepting behavior that once felt normal. You stop begging for basic respect. You stop chasing unhealthy connections. You stop forcing relationships that constantly damage your peace. And perhaps one of the saddest things in life is this: many people are loyal to relationships that are destroying them. They remain emotionally attached to people who continuously humiliate them, drain them, and disturb their peace. And they call it love, they call it loyalty, they call it friendship. No, sometimes it is simply fear of letting go, fear of loneliness, fear of change, fear of starting over. But let me tell you something important. Loneliness is painful, but losing yourself while trying to keep toxic people in your life is even more painful. At least loneliness gives you space to heal. Toxic environments keep reopening the wound. And honestly, many people do not realize how peaceful life becomes when constant negativity leaves their life. Suddenly, your mind feels lighter, your heart feels calmer, your focus returns, your relationship with Allah improves. Why? Because chaos is exhausting. Toxic people create emotional storms everywhere they go. Drama, conflict, manipulation, gossip, control. And if you stay around that long enough, eventually it begins affecting your soul. This is why wise people protect their inner peace carefully. Not everyone deserves deep access to your heart. And understand this clearly: distance is not weakness. Distance is often wisdom. Even the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, distanced himself from harmful people at times. Not every person was allowed intimate closeness, because wisdom means understanding human nature. Some people inspire goodness in you, others awaken darkness inside you. Pay attention to that carefully. The right people make you feel closer to Allah, closer to peace, closer to discipline, closer to growth. The wrong people pull you towards stress, anger, gossip, temptation, and emotional instability. And one of the clearest signs that somebody is unhealthy for your life is this: your peace disappears around them. You constantly feel anxious, constantly feel emotionally drained, constantly feel mentally disturbed. That is not something to ignore. Your heart recognizes danger before your mind fully accepts it. And this is why protecting your peace is not selfish. It is necessary. Some people will call you distant simply because they lost access to your energy. apology. That is fine. Not everybody will understand your boundaries. And honestly, you do not need everyone to understand. Because at the end of the day, your responsibility is not to keep everyone happy. Your responsibility is to protect your soul from becoming consumed by toxicity. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is walking away from environments that no longer bring peace into your life. And wallahi, some battles are won not by fighting harder, but by finally refusing to stay where your peace is constantly under attack. 5. Let Allah handle what you cannot. One of the heaviest burdens a person can carry is the obsession with getting justice immediately. You want people exposed immediately. You want consequences immediately. You want those who hurt you to suffer immediately. And when that does not happen, many people become emotionally exhausted. They begin questioning everything. Why are they succeeding after hurting me? Why are they smiling after betraying me? Why does it seem like bad people always win? And honestly, this is where many hearts become spiritually weak, because they start believing that Allah does not see what happened. But listen carefully. Just because Allah is silent does not mean He is unaware. And just because punishment is delayed does not mean it will never come. One of the greatest sources of peace in life is understanding that Allah sees everything people try to hide. The fake smiles, the manipulation, the betrayal, the jealousy, the secret conversations, the lies spoken behind closed doors. Nothing escapes Him. People can fool society. People can manipulate appearances. People can act innocent publicly while privately destroying others emotionally. But nobody deceives Allah. And this is why the believer sleeps differently. Because even when people misunderstand you, even when people lie about you, even when your pain is ignored by others, Allah knows the full story. And honestly, that should calm your heart more than revenge ever will. Many people destroy themselves emotionally because they keep trying to carry battles that belong to Allah. They become consumed by anger, consumed by hatred, consumed by the need to win. And slowly, revenge becomes their entire personality. They wake up angry, sleep angry, think angry. Meanwhile, the person who hurt them continues living freely inside their mind every single day. That is emotional imprisonment. And this is why trust in Allah is powerful, because trust allows you to release burdens you were never meant to carry alone. You know what destroys many people? Not pain itself. It is overthinking the pain constantly, replaying betrayal again and again, imagining revenge scenarios, obsessing over what should happen to certain people, and eventually the emotional exhaustion becomes unbearable. But the believer understands something deeper. Allah's justice does not operate according to your emotions. It operates according to perfect wisdom. Sometimes Allah delays consequences because He is giving people time to repent. Sometimes Allah delays consequences because their punishment is being saved for something greater. Sometimes Allah allows difficult people into your life not to destroy you but to develop you. And this is what many people fail to understand. Some enemies are actually tests of patience, tests of emotional control, tests of trust in Allah, tests of character. And many people fail those tests because they become consumed by ego. They think, no, I must personally destroy this person. I must humiliate them. I must expose them. But honestly, some battles are too heavy for your heart to carry. That is why tawakkul, trusting Allah completely, is so powerful, because tawakkul gives emotional relief. It reminds you that you are not responsible for controlling every outcome in life. Your responsibility is to remain sincere, remain patient, remain disciplined, remain connected to Allah, and Allah handles what is beyond your control. You know something dangerous? People often think silence means weakness. No, sometimes silence means somebody trusted Allah enough to stop fighting unnecessary battles. And wallahi, there is incredible strength in walking away from revenge and saying Allah is enough for me. That sentence carries carries peace. That sentence carries power. That sentence frees your heart, because now you stop obsessing over controlling people's outcomes. You focus on your own soul instead. And honestly, many people become spiritually destroyed because they focus more on other people's punishment than their own self-improvement. They watch everyone else, judge everyone else, obsess over everyone else. Meanwhile, their own relationship with Allah becomes weaker every day. Do not become that person. You cannot control how people behave, but you can control your own response. And perhaps one of the greatest signs of spiritual maturity is this: you stop needing revenge to feel peace. Think about that carefully. Some people cannot sleep peacefully unless they get even. But spiritually strong people understand that peace does not come from revenge. It comes from surrendering your pain to Allah. Because revenge may satisfy your ego temporarily, but trust in Allah heals the heart deeply. And let me tell you something important. Allah's justice is perfect precisely because it is not emotional. Human beings are emotional, angry, impatient. We want instant results, but Allah sees the entire picture. And many times people think someone escaped consequences simply because they cannot see what is happening privately. You have no idea what guilt someone carries, what emptiness someone carries, what punishment may already exist internally. Some people smile publicly while internally they are collapsing. That is why you should never obsess over watching people's downfall. Focus on your own journey. Because honestly, one of the most dangerous things bitterness does is distract you from your purpose. You stop growing, stop healing, stop progressing. Your entire emotional energy becomes attached to people who hurt you. And toxic people love that. They love knowing they still control your emotions. Do not give them that power. Give your pain to Allah instead. Cry to Allah. Speak to Allah. Make dua to Allah. Because there are some wounds people cannot heal for you. Only Allah can heal them. And there are moments in life where human beings disappoint you so deeply that nobody truly understands your pain except Allah Himself. That is why connection with Allah matters so much. When your relationship with Allah becomes strong, people lose the ability to completely destroy you emotionally, because your heart no longer depends entirely on people. It depends on Allah. And that changes everything. Suddenly betrayal hurts less, rejection hurts less, insults hurt less. Not because you became emotionless, but because your trust shifted from people to Allah. And honestly, some of the calmest people you will ever meet are people who stopped trying to control everything and started trusting Allah more deeply. They still feel pain, still feel disappointment, still cry sometimes, but deep inside they carry certainty. Certainty that Allah sees, Allah knows, Allah understands. Allah will handle what they cannot. And wallahi, that certainty brings a type of peace revenge could never give. Because at the end of the day, human justice is limited, but Allah's justice never fails, not even once. 6. Control your tongue. One of the fastest ways to destroy your own peace, dignity and reputation is through an uncontrolled tongue. And honestly, many people do not realize this until the damage is already done. One angry sentence can destroy years of trust. One emotional reaction can ruin relationships permanently. One careless moment can create regret that follows you for years. That is why controlling your tongue is not a small thing in Islam. It is serious, because words are powerful. Words can heal people, but words can also destroy hearts. And toxic people understand something dangerous. If they can make you lose control emotionally, eventually your tongue will expose your weakness. That is why they provoke you, they insult you, mock you, disrespect you, push your emotional buttons repeatedly. Why? Because emotional people say reckless things, and once words leave your mouth, you cannot pull them back. Many people spend years apologizing for a few seconds of anger. Think carefully about how many relationships were destroyed because somebody spoke while emotional. Families broken, friendships destroyed, marriages damaged, reputations ruined. Not because the situation was impossible to fix, but because somebody lost control of their tongue. And honestly, one of the signs of wisdom is is learning when silence is more powerful than speech. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every accusation deserves your defense. Not every insult deserves your attention. Sometimes your silence says more than words ever could. Do you know what is dangerous about anger? Anger makes temporary emotions feel permanent. In the moment you feel justified, you feel powerful, you feel like you must say something immediately. But later, when emotions calm down, regret arrives. That is why wise people pause before responding emotionally. They understand that emotional moments often create permanent consequences. And sadly, social media has made this problem even worse. Today, people react instantly. Instant anger, instant post